Welcome to Manchester United Daily Updates. Before continuing this video, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Manchester United restricted to a draw by Fenerbahce as Mourinho sent off. It just had to be about him. Jose Mourinho was shown a red card against Manchester United for protesting when he thought his Fenerbahce side should have been awarded a penalty, but still saw them rescue a point thanks to an equalizer from Youssef En-Nesyri after they had fallen behind to Christian Eriksen's opener. The result, a third straight draw in this competition, leaves Erik ten Hag's side sandwiched between Victoria Pilsen and Elfsborg in the playoff positions in the Europa League after the Dutchman had strangely decided to play Noussair Mazraoui in an unusual attacking role. The United manager will point to a vastly improved performance from a team that had conceded 17 goals in their last 5 away matches in Europe, although it could have been worse had Mourinho's pleas not fallen on deaf ears. Having lost 3-0 here under Sir Alex Ferguson in 2004, at least United emerged relatively unscathed this time, unlike their former employee. Ten Hag has described the Europa League as a big target for us this season, but he sprang a surprise with his starting lineup by opting for Mazraoui to replace the suspended captain Bruno Fernandes. The Moroccan, who occasionally played in a more advanced position at Ajax, was involved in the build-up to Eriksen's goal but otherwise seemed confused by his new role, and it was quickly abandoned when Fenerbahce equalized. Mourinho's meltdown came soon afterwards and the game petered out after that, although not before the substitute Antony was carried off on a stretcher with a serious-looking injury. Mazraoui was one of 4 changes from United's victory over Brentford at the weekend, with Rasmus Højlund having to settle for a place on the bench despite scoring the winner in that match, Ten Hag explaining that the Denmark striker has to build his fitness after returning from injury. United looked much more dangerous with the more orthodox lineup that finished the game but still couldn't create much, despite the best attempts of Alejandro Garnacho. It wasn't just in the away dugout that there were familiar faces, with the former United midfielders Fred and Sofyan Amrabat among several former Premier League players in the Fenerbahce team. This city has rarely been kind to the visitors over the years. All eyes were on Ten Hag and Man Utd, but Mourinho steals show again. Not for the first time in his long and storied career, Jose Mourinho left the scene of a major game with the conversation all about him. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag may still be under pressure after his side's 1-1 Europa League draw with Fenerbahce in Istanbul. United goalkeeper Andre Onana may have made a sensational first-half double save to deny eventual Fenerbahce goalscorer Youssef En-Nesyri, and Manuel Ugarte's block to prevent the Moroccan firing into an empty net soon after might just have been equally as good. But all of this is a side issue compared to what happened around Mourinho, who ended the game sat on a step in the stand behind the home dugout, passing instructions to his coaching staff as he tried to engineer a winner. Endless touchline antics, a second-half sending off and some box office post-match interviews. This was trademark Mourinho. "I quite enjoyed watching Jose," said former Manchester United midfielder Paul Scholes on TNT. "It looked like there's a bit of enthusiasm back with him. It looked like he was enjoying himself, he was laughing to himself, he was having a giggle. I enjoyed watching him. But that was not the end of the matter. Not by a long way." Mourinho's next move? A club at the bottom in England. European governing body UEFA are bound to be in touch, which is where we probably should start. In 2023, Mourinho was given a 4-match touchline ban for his behavior around the Europa League final when his Roma side were beaten by Sevilla in Budapest. Premier League referee Anthony Taylor was abused in the airport on his way home after footage emerged of Mourinho waiting in an underground car park after the match to question the official about his performance. So, as he reflected on being red-carded by another leading official in French referee Clement Turpin in Istanbul, Mourinho made reference to the previous incident. "If I appeal I will get 6 months, said Mourinho, when asked by an English journalist if he would appeal against his dismissal. "Since the Sevilla-Roma final there's nothing to do. That is why the future is better without European competition, so I don't get upset." This was a follow-up to his first answer, to the man from another broadcaster who he knows exceptionally well, which in itself built on something he said in the lead-up to the game which suggested after spells with Chelsea. Mourinho was predictably at the center of attention, but Erik ten Hag's side remain without a win in the Europa League this season. Jose Mourinho was sent off as Fenerbahce held his former club Manchester United to a 1-1 draw in the Europa League, leaving Erik ten Hag's side without a win in 3 European games this season. Mourinho was dismissed by referee Clement Turpin after appealing for a penalty midway through the second half. The 61-year-old watched the remainder of the match from the stands. It came just after Youssef En-Nesyri equalized for Fenerbahce, beating Andre Onana with a downward header after the Manchester United goalkeeper had denied him with a brilliant double save before half-time. United's defending was poor and had been coming with ten Hag's side retreating after Christian Eriksen's opening goal on 15 minutes, as the midfielder finished off a clinical counterattack. United remain without a win in the Europa League after previous draws against FC Twente and Porto. It is now a year since their last European win, a 1-0 victory against Copenhagen at Old Trafford. José Mourinho steals the show to tell Manchester United what they're missing. José Mourinho's red cards are usually considered acts of deflection, but Thursday nights probably served that purpose for Erik ten Hag. A raucous game with a lot of subplots offered perhaps the most entertaining shows in Europe this season, if not all for good reasons or with any real payoff. That's Manchester United on the pitch, and Mourinho off it. The Portuguese failed to get proper revenge on his old club, but then United have now failed to maximize a lead in every single Europa League game this season. This raucous 1-1 at Fenerbahce was the third draw in 3, any positives again offset by obvious flaws. Youssef En-Nesyri, who ended ten Hag's first United European campaign when at Sevilla in 2022-23, here ended any sense of momentum after the win over Brentford. There was also the theater of Mourinho being somewhat harshly sent off for complaining about how a penalty claim was dismissed. The cuts to ten Hag's predecessor on a step here meant there wasn't the same scrutiny on ten Hag's present problems. United can't seem to get any form going. This was actually a regression to another issue. Erik ten Hag explains shock Manchester United selection decisions in feisty Fenerbahce draw. Erik ten Hag has explained his shock decision to deploy Manchester United's Noussair Mazraoui in a surprising position against Fenerbahce. The Dutchman stunned fans by starting the Morocco fullback in a seemingly unfamiliar number 10 role in Thursday night's feisty Europa League clash in Istanbul, which saw Fenerbahce boss José Mourinho sent off against his former club as Youssef En-Nesyri struck to cancel out Christian Eriksen's opening goal in a hard-fought 1-1 draw. "I know him from before, at Ajax I played him there," ten Hag said of summer signing Mazraoui ahead of the game in Turkey. "Also as a fullback, he plays in the half spaces. So he's capable to do this job." Asked after the match why he did not start Amad Diallo against Fenerbahce instead, the Dutchman said, "Away from Europe to start with 4 attackers is too much. I made him, Mazraoui, a fullback. He was always a number 10. I knew he could fill in with that role, he had a big role in the goal.